Most epitaphs try to comfort. They talk about heaven, rest, peace, but some tell the story exactly as it happened, bloody, violent, and cold. These are stones that don't soften the truth. They carve it in. Welcome back to Half Haunted Chronicles, where the past isn't just remembered, it's relived. I'm your host, Candy, and tonight we're stepping away from the poetic and into the grim, because not all epitaphs are gentle farewells. Some tell the story of death exactly as it was, unfiltered, brutal, and sometimes even a little vengeful. In Cornwall, one grave reads, "Here lies William Smith, born, bred, and hanged in his parish." No scripture, no sympathy, just a public record of shame etched forever. Executed men were often buried outside the church grounds, but families sometimes marked the spot anyway. In doing so, they turned punishment into legend. Centuries later, no one remembers William's crime, but his epitaph still whispers the one thing that mattered the most to his neighbors: he didn't die peacefully. Another epitaph, this time in rhyme, spares no detail. By a fall I broke my thigh, by a fracture here I lie. Painful death, my fate severe. I trust in God, I rest sincere. The rhyme makes it sound almost quaint until you realize how graphic it is. You can picture the fall, the snap of the bone, the long agony that followed. It's as if the writer couldn't help turning pain into poetry. In one rural graveyard, a child's epitaph reads simply, "Killed by the scythe." No rhyme, no comfort, just the fact. It's horrifying in its brevity. A single line that paints an entire scene in the field, the accident, and the sudden silence. Sometimes the most haunting epitaphs say the least. Burn deaths were another favorite subject of macabre stones. One reads, "Consumed by fire while cooking bread." Another, from the 1700s, lies Mary, whose candle fell and caused her a mortal flame. These weren't meant sensationalized, they were warnings. Be careful, the stones seem to say. It could happen to you. Today we prefer words like passed away or gone to rest, but centuries ago people lived side by side with death. It was a constant guest, not a surprise visitor. There was no escaping it, so they told it plainly. Carving horror into stone was their way of controlling it. And for the rest of us, it's a reminder that history wasn't tidy. Life was fragile, death could be sudden, ugly, and public. Okay, the born, bred, and the hanged guy. That's not a eulogy, that's a roast. Imagine being immortalized as the local criminal. That's eternal shade. And the fractured thigh poem, I respect the commitment. You're dying of a compound fracture and you still make it rhyme. That's dedication to the craft. The fire epitaphs, though, terrifying. If my candle ever took me out, I'd absolutely haunt that kitchen forever. You'd never make toast in peace again. But really, these weren't shot pieces. They were lessons, cautionary tales carved in stone. It's like the 1700s version of Final Destination. Haunting, yeah, but kind of brilliant. These epitaphs stick because they're honest. They didn't hide from death. They stared it down. And maybe that's why they still make us uncomfortable. They remind us that we're not that far removed from the chaos, the blood, and the fear our ancestors lived with every day. We just got better at pretending. Here are 3 creepy facts to haunt your day. Execution graves. In 18th and 19th century England, criminals were sometimes buried under epitaphs, naming their crimes as public shaming. Accident rhymes. Many deaths by accident epitaphs rhyme not for beauty, but for memory, helping oral storytellers pass along the tale. Fire and fear. Some fire deaths were thought to protect others, warning stones meant to ward off future tragedies. So the next time you walk through a cemetery and see a stone that sounds more like a horror story than a eulogy, stop and read it, because for someone that story was too important to fade. And the blood may have dried centuries ago, but in stone, it really never disappears. Until next time, stay curious and always, always stay haunted.